Hello, welcome to the second part of the Triple B podcast, the Tears of the Kingdom edition. This one should actually be the time frame that we want it to be. So today, Scott's already going somewhere and doing something. So in this episode, last episode we talked about our likes and beefs. Basically, the beefs being Ultra Hand, some of the sub menu stuff, basically, and horses being the main ones, with some other ones thrown in there. Some of the things, the highlights that we liked, how it's an open world that's actually worth exploring, that it's just full of wonderment and just unknown, and that Ascend is like the best thing in the entire world in a game that needs to be in like every open world game ever, period. Like that just needs to be there. So this episode is all about just the fun, stupid, silly, maybe angering stories that we've all experienced and come across. We have all had very different experiences with the same exact game, with the same exact mechanics, same exact characters and everything. But there's so much in this game that we all came across different things. So I'm going to, since Scott started last time, Matt, why don't you get to start this time? Because we got to be fair.
Ooh, I get a start. This is cool. All right, I got some cool stuff here, and I got my notes pulled up. That on my computer it kind of snapped to the weird screen. So that's what I've been fixing. Sorry, you have my full attention, viewers of this podcast. Don't you worry. Um, so I got, let's see, one, two, three. I got about seven like individual cool moments that I could bring up. I won't dive into all of them because I'm sure some of it's going to overlap a little bit. But there are a few things that I definitely want to talk about. My first one I really want to talk about is my first Korok delivery story. So for those that have played the game, obviously you will find a random little Korok dude who has this oversized backpack that he's just like, I need you to deliver me to my friend because his backpack is too heavy. And you're just like, okay. And
And
then
he's
there's like
lazy.
and he's lazy. And there's like this green or smoke in the distance where it kind of shows you, yeah, he's over there. So your job is to take Korok 1 to Korok number 2 via whatever means necessary or available to you. And this is on the very first part of the game, the first area, I should say, of the game, kind of the training island, if you will. And there's this rail system. And it has some like gears and it has like platforms and hooks and things that you can use in the previous podcast, the mix and the Loved by Mike, Indifferent by Scott and I alter hand ability where you put stuff together, make a contraption. So what I did is like, oh, I need to go to that other Korok. So I put the hook on the platform. I put the hook with the platform on this rail, and I ride it down to the Korok. I'm like, cool, I found him. So then I go talk to this Korok, and they're like, hey, where's my friend? I'm like, he's over there. Oh, did you want me to bring him? Gosh, dang it. I was supposed to bring that Korok. I didn't know I could bring a Korok. So then I have to make another contraption to go down another rail system to get to a bottom area and climb back up to the first area. And then I'm here at front of the Korok. I'm like, how do I move this Korok? What do I do with this Korok? Wait, can I pick up this Korok? And then I turn on the altar hand and you can pick up the Korok. You can just float him and you can even attach him to things. And I'm sure we'll talk some Korok stories later between all of us. I got a couple. So I'm just like, crap, I already built the mechanic I needed to go down there. And it's not here. Like if you walk far enough away and come back, all the buildable stuff does respawn, which by the way, that's a little beef that I forgot to mention is if you walk too far away from your contraptions, they just disappear. So I was exploring one area and I came back like, all right, I'm going to use my boat now. Oh crap, where's my boat? It does time out
That's
based on your
that's where the
distance from it.
hardware. That's where the hardware, not all the other stuff. That's where the hardware would be good,
Yeah.
right? So they could
So
keep it
that
there.
so that was a bit annoying. Like, crap, how do I get across this thing? What do I do? And maybe you go cut down some trees and make your own sort of hook system out of stuff. And then I stopped and thought about it. I'm like, hang on, can I climb this rail system? So I climb on top of the rail system and I'm literally standing on this like rail, this very, very thin rail. And I'm like, can I just walk across this rail? I'm going to try. So then I picked up the Korok. So I'm like holding this Korok in the air, slowly walking down this rail because I was an idiot and didn't realize I was supposed to bring him with me the first time. And my wife was watching me. She goes, are you going to fall? You're going to fall, or something like that. She was watching me. I'm just like, I'm going to keep doing it. So I'm just like not breathing, inching slowly across this rail, holding this Korok above me. And I made it. I made it across the rail. I dropped him in front of his friend, and I got my 2 Korok seeds. That moment was so funny and unique to me because I'm like, that's not what they designed it. Obviously, they designed me to build a system and send the Korok on down. I didn't realize I could grab the Korok. I had nothing at my disposal. Do I leave, rebuild it? Nah. I'm gonna just walk it. I'm gonna just walk it straight there. And it worked.
When you
And that's
sent
one
us
of,
that picture, the
yeah.
screenshot, you're like, guys, by the way, you could walk on this. I was like, what? And it's
Mhm.
just a picture of you standing on the rail.
Hey, just rename him Christopher because he's walking.
Oh, boo. I was whacking over here. Yeah, you got Mike on that one.
I appreciate that one. Good job.
So that was really stuck out to me. Like maybe that sounds like a nothing moment to you guys listening. Sorry, I said my mic. You guys listening, but to me, I'm just like, this is where it really was like, oh, I can solve stuff in a lot of different ways. And I wonder if the devs at any point was like, I wonder if someone's gonna just tightrope walk this thing. Like, I did, and it worked. And I got several more Korok stories, but I think it'd be fun to kind of mix and match stories. Did I know Mike didn't? Scott, did you miss the Korok the first time that you had to bring him with you as well? I
Yes, I
want to know,
did.
how'd
I
you
did.
solve it? How did you solve it?
I think I basically walked far enough away from the stuff. I think when I found that out, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to bring him over. Well, screw this, and I just kept on going. And then eventually, I looped back around, and I'm like, oh, hey, maybe I should take care of that Korok quest mission right now, and the stuff's all respawn. So I did not resort to tight walking it like you did, Matt. I did it the actual intended way with all the, you know, like here's a
Built-in.
huge hook and a huge piece of wood next to a huge rail. I went the very obvious route that they most likely had intended. But I did experience the same thing of just like, I don't get it. I talked to your friend and then I found you. Go pick up your friend. It's like I have to do all the work on this one, and it also took me a second to realize that they could actually be ultra handed into material and kept
Yep.
on it. So that was the thing that took me a hot minute to go and
Well,
figure out too.
because remember, right after that, there's another one that you have
Yeah.
to take to his friend too on a harder rail. Because remember, the rail like it's it's a mine cart, but it's like two rails, and one of the rails, breaks off. And so I didn't know that you could attach them to things. So I created a flat thing with a hook. I did it the way they were like, this is how you should solve it. I did it, and I put the Korok on there, and then I jump on, and my weight caused the Korok to move, and he just fell off into the sky. And I was like, oh,
Bye.
bye. I didn't mean to do that. And so then I had to make my way back and do this whole thing. And I made my way back, and he had respawned there. And I was like, okay, so how am I going to do this? And then that's when I realized I could literally sit your ass down and don't move.
Glue him
You
to
got
the
green
pallet.
glue on your butt.
So here's a question for the class. We all have accidentally killed one, right? We've all have accidentally killed a Korok. Have either of you purposely killed a Korok yet?
I have not. I am not evil.
Kind of.
I am the guy who plays Undertale, and I've only played the pacifist route, never genocide, like Mass Effect. I have done renegade playthroughs, but any of the really bad decisions you can make to kill innocent people, I've never done it because I don't know why. It's just all computer programming stuff. They're fake characters, but I still feel really bad about it. So, with that said, I have had some horrible over designed, over engineered devices that have gone wrong and have killed poor innocent Koroks in the process. Did I feel guilty about it? He was gonna go late. It was either I killed him or he just laid on that little cliff all day long and never went anywhere. So I put him out of his misery. But yes.
Okay, so you've only technically accidentally done it. Mike, you've purposely have killed him once?
I
or
don't know if
twice?
I kind of. So, and this is actually one of the stories I wanted to bring up. So, good segue, I guess. So, one of the Koroks, now I'm at a point, because I don't really care for the Koroks now. Now I'm at a point where it's literally just give me your little turd so I can go expand my inventory. And there was a Korok that was on top of he was at the bottom of this hill, and there was a Korok at the top, and it was a distance, and he's like, take me to my friend. And I'm like, okay, maybe there's a balloon here, a plate, go up. Nothing. There were rockets. So I'm like, can I attach a rocket to this thing? And lo and behold, you can. So I was like, I'm going to send this little jerk up to his friend. So I did that on purpose. And I was like, you know what? And if he dies, I don't care. And it was near the edge of a cliff. So it was like, here's the Korok, here's the other Korok, and there's like, he's on this cliff overhang, okay? So I lay it on its side where I think it's going to, like, I put it on a rock where I think it's going to go the trajectory. And I hit that little core, you know, like as you bounce them around, they're going, oof, you know, you can see a little oof and they're making their sounds. And I'm like, all right, well, you're still cute, but I hate you. And I set him down and I hit him with a laser. So one of my derpy weapons, it was like a boomerang with a laser beam on it. And I like hit him with that and it was like, and he moved at the last second and cut like, so he's supposed to go this way. And when I hit it, it went, and just went, and he went flying off the cliff. And I was like, all right. And I just like, I waited there and I was like, as he's going, I'm like, okay, when are you going to respawn? And he goes over the edge and then poof, there he is again. I go, well, I kind of want to do that again. So I did it again. And after the fourth try, I finally rocketed him up there, which I would have spent less time if I just took him and walked up the hill.
Right.
But I killed him 3 times. So I didn't like go out with the thought of like, I want to kill you, but I definitely, it wasn't quite involuntary manslaughter, Korok slaughter.
So Mike found he could accidentally kill them and then proceeded to kill them a few more times. So he's the only monster amongst us 3 to actually kill.
I got a taste
Korok
for it.
Deliberately. He's got a taste for Korok. It's like, hey, can you give me these seeds? And you're like, I ate them. Like that's the equivalent. Well, let's stay on subject of Korok stories because I have 2 more myself, and these are just fun. One of you guys have another Korok story you might want to share?
I do actually have one other one, so go for it. I don't know if Scott, do you have some?
Yeah, I got one. So I kind of have a little bit of a Titanic Leonardo DiCaprio moment with one of mine.
Same. Let's go.
Wait, so, what? Say that again? What? Titanic?
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Like, are we talking about like on the door?
Like leaving
just climb up. No, yeah. You die.
Only one person could survive the situation, and it's not going to be, it's not going to be you, Korok. I'm sorry. I'm going to be the one that will take the boat. But yeah, I was just trying to, again, kind of like the same deal with the sign guy. A lot of times, I'm just trying to get from point A to point B. And if I cross a Korok, I will go and take a note of it on my map in case I ever want to come back and get seeds. But for the most part, I'm just going to run by you. There was one time where I saw one, and he was right by a riverbank. And this was a pretty big-ass river. I don't know the names of the rivers in the games. I can't describe it. But it's a very, very wide river. So I run by the
one I did. I'm wondering if you did the same one I did. But sorry, go ahead.
I run by this Korok, and I'm just like, you know what? I always talk to him at the very least and see where their buddy's at. And this guy, he was literally just on the complete opposite side of the river. So again, pretty big river, but it wasn't up a mountain. It wasn't anything too crazy. So I'm like, you know what? I think I can do this pretty quick. What do I have around here to work with? I had a big board, and I had a fan, and then a sail. And so I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? The current looks kind of strong. Maybe if I put the fan on there, and then I also put on the sail, both of them together will work together and get me across this river to go and deliver this Korok. Oh no, it did not work that way. Like literally as soon as I plopped that ship in the water, it just started going in circles and flying off. And what do I do in this situation? Do I go onto the board and try to save the Korok, or do I just like wash my hands of it? I actually try to save him. So I'm like, no, little Korok buddy. I dive in the water. I swim after this board. I get on it. And I'm turning off the fan. The boat is still spinning out of control down this very, very rapidly moving river. And I'm just on the go, trying to go and spawn fans, spawn rockets, anything I can do to go and course correct this boat. And it's going out of control. It's flopping to the side because of weight distribution stuff. And finally, I'm at the point where I'm trying to pick up the Korok. And I'm just like, well, maybe I can drop you off in the middle of off on the shore. And I'm just in the middle of this river. And it's starting to get to the ocean. And at this point, it's just like, you know what, Korok? Plop. I'm sorry, little buddy. It's either me or you. You gotta have to go off. You're the Leonardo DiCaprio drifting away into the ocean. With him off the ship, I was able. You know what? I think I just eventually teleported away from it. It was just a lost cause.
Like, well, so you didn't just teleport away and just be like, I didn't see this. You literally went goodbye and then teleported out of there.
And the sad part of it was after that happened, I know some people may have been determined to go and try again. It's like, oh my god, figure out how to do it right. Me, I was like, well, I killed the little guy. I guess that's that. I'm just gonna move on. But I accidentally went by that same exact area like a couple days later for a completely different mission. And so I go by and I see that Korok, and at first I don't realize it's the same one. I'm like, oh, we got another Korok there. Let me mark it on my map. And I looked at it; it was already previously marked. Oh, I've been here before. Well, where's your friend? On the other side of the river. Oh, hey, buddy. Well, this is kind of awkward.
Back.
Yeah. I hope you had an okay swim back here. Yeah, sorry about that.
So
How funny.
did you
I
help
think it would
him
be
the
no.
second time? You just
He
walked
didn't
on.
want my help. He didn't want my help. I think it was like an exclusive Scott dialogue option where he's like, I need to get to my friend on the other side of the oh hi Scott. Yeah, I was just talking, I don't need any help. We're cool. Just keep going to your tower. It's
I was
fine.
about to say, how funny
But
would it be if they added custom dialogue if you killed them? Like, hey, you've killed me 5 times. Like, just something like that. Like one, it's a testament to like how many times you failed, and two, it'd just be funny. I think that would be hilarious if the Korok's
Yeah.
like, you've killed me 5 times.
yes, but yes, I did. To my defense, I did everything to save that poor little Korok until it got to the point where it's like, this is a lost cause. I'm going to eat it. It's done. It's done, man. I'm sorry.
I think we did the same exact one, and I had very similar experience. And at first I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a big giant bridge. So I tried to make a bridge, but the current was so strong. Like I finally put the Korok on it, and the current just went like, I'm taking this. So I just see my big giant bridge going with the Korok on. I'm like, well, see you, bud. That guy's gone. And then I tried with a boat, and I was having the same problems you are, where it kept going any which way. So I finally got on it. I climbed on it, and then I tried to like smack the fan to stop it spinning, and instead, like I broke the boat with my melee weapon. So I just broke my boat in half, and so the boat kind of split, and I'm on one end, and the Korok I attached to the sail. So he's on the sail, just chilling. And I'm like, oh crap, this is sinking. So I get off the river and I just kind of see the sail kind of slowly going down into the water and just drowned.
It's
He
like
just-
Jaws, like when they go to the top of the thing and the boat's going down.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. I kind of thought of like Pirates of the Caribbean, but like Jack Sparrow shows up and his boat sinks. As it finally sinks, he steps onto the
Steps
dock.
out of the dock.
Like I stepped off onto the dock, but the Korok was just like, all right, screw you, dude.
Went down with the ship.
He just went down. So Scott, I think you and I did the same one because you frantically trying to save him and then just like making it worse somehow. It's like, well,
Oh,
sorry,
and I
dude.
feel like this, but you said there was only a sail. I actually avoid sails in this game. I tried
Yeah.
at first and I was like, nah. But I swear there were like other things near there because it was a board, a big plank, and they had wheels, and they had a fan. And I thought, oh, the board floats, so I'll put the wheels on there, and I'll make a land sea vehicle. So I put the wheels on there, and I put the boat or the plank, and then I put a fan on there, and I think it's the same. Maybe it's not, but it was a big river with a big current, and so I angled it right so it hit it. See, I actually thought about the current, like, okay, it's gonna drag me down, but as long as I do it ahead, it's gonna keep moving, and I'll get across, and then I'll just climb up. And my boat just like I attached a Korok to it, and I was gonna let him go across first, and then I was gonna just follow along. And I didn't realize that you have to put like logs, like pontoons. So this vehicle goes boop, boof, and just goes into the water. It just goes bloof, and the thing died. And I'm like, oh, that didn't go how I thought it was gonna float. When you put wheels on something, you have to put the logs on there, otherwise it'll fall and just go down into the water.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Tell you what, I have one more Korok story. And if you got more, feel free to add it. But let me just wrap up at least my side of the Korok stuff. There's a quest on the south, or a Korok thing on the south east side, where they have like a little car base and my first like steering wheel stick, because you can actually start to steer things with those sticks.
Car base,
And
like a cart? Are you talking about like
like
the
a cart, like
circular
a
thing
cart,
with
yeah.
the wheels on it?
Yeah, just a rectangle with wheels on it.
I
like a
know
small
exactly
one.
what you're talking about then. I know exactly.
So I slapped the Korok on that. I put the fan on the back. I get the steering stick, which is my first time with the steering stick. I'm like, all right, well, let's see how this goes. So I smack it and I start driving and I try to steer this thing. It's a little weird because I haven't done it before. And I'm like, oh crap, I'm just gonna go fly off this hill. I wonder what happens. So I just Dukes of Hazard off this mountain. So I'm on this flying car. I'm like holding this stick with the Korok for my dear life. I'm just like, am I in a flying car right now? What's happening? So I was kind of falling, gliding with style. And I'm like, you know what? This is better. I didn't need to drive. I can just fly this car right off. And then I finally land on this beach. But where I land is literally in the fire of like an enemy enclave, right? And I land right in the middle. So these guys are just doing their monster things, eating their fish, just dancing around the fire. And then suddenly, smack, here's Link in a flying car with the Korok. So two things had to happen. Is one, I needed to fight those dudes because I startled them. But two, when I landed, my car broke, and the momentum of it breaking launched the Korok, just launched the Korok out into the ocean. So I land, Korok goes flying, and I'm just kind of staring at this Korok. And then I look to my side, I'm like, oh, here's a bunch of guys that want to kill me because I just landed in the middle of their party and just yeeted that Korok. And then they proceeded to murder me just because I only had like the 4 hearts and they just one-shot me, but I'm just like, oh.
Okay.
So
Matt,
that was fun.
All I can envision when you're telling that story is Smokey and the Bandit. I can just imagine like it's just all of the moblins, they're like the local police force, they're having their barbecue, and you just have that asshole bandit in his car just plowing through the middle of everybody's party. You know, you got what was the sheriff's name? Buford T. Justice. I'm going to fry your ass in molasses, boy. Like whacking you with the stick, knocking you out, and stuff like that. That's just the scene I envision, and it pleases me so much.
That is the imagery I wish to paint, and I'm glad that you got there because it was just so fun because of how much like unexpectedness happened to me. My brain couldn't keep up with what was happening. I'm like, oh crap, I'm going off the cliff. Oh crap, I'm flying a car. How's this happening? Oh crap, I landed in the middle of a bunch of enemies. Oh crap, my Korok just yeeted into the ocean. He's dead now. Oh gosh, I gotta fight these guys now. Like, and that was in the course of like 10 seconds this happened. And as I was flying, what started playing in the back of my head was like Freebird. Freebird was playing, combined with like the Dukes of Hazards, like them good old boys, them good old Koroks, they go flying again. And it was just a delight that I just launched that Korok and where I landed. It was so fun. It was
I know
funny.
exactly where you're talking about. It's crazy that I didn't use the card at all. I literally rolled the Korok. Like, I guess I am a monster. I literally just took the Korok and just like threw him down the hill, and he rolled because his Korok friend was like to the side of those monster
yes,
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I saw a pass, so I just went nah and threw him over there, and he just rolled down like 3/4 of the way, and so then I just glided down, picked him up. But yeah, I just saw him go oof, oof, oof the whole way down, and I'm like cool, and then I glided down, and I took him like the last like quarter of his travel. So I just picked him up and do it.
You know that meme format? Like it was an old, I forget the movie. I think it was an old Ghibli, but like a young girl in anime style kind of wheels a lady to the edge of like the mountain to like, hey, grandma, look at the edge of the mountain. Whoops. And just like pushes her off. That was you. You just like, hey, Mr. Korok, down you go.
I literally looked at the cart and stuff that was right next to it, and I went, nah, that's too much. Huh.
You chose violence.
I did.
You had the
so
option
I guess
not,
I am a
you
monster.
chose it. You are the monster.
I am a monster.
Well, like between the two of you, who was able to deliver your Korok alive?
I didn't kill him. I heard him. I didn't kill him.
I sit corrected. I am the monster. Given I did it with style, I will say.
You did it while Freebird played.
Those damn Duke boys!
Classy.
That's great. You guys got any other Korok stories? Or if not, tell me some more. I love this.
No, my other Korok stories, sadly, are all cranky. Like, I'm just like, eh. Now I literally just eat him. I just eat him over to the area, and then I just catch up with him. So
yeah, like I said, for the most part, I pass them. I just have to feel particularly generous that moment if I ever go and try to do it. So yeah, my Titanic moment, that was probably like my best Korok story. But maybe once I get access to like more on-demand rockets and stuff like that. Like one thing is once you start getting access to a easy supply of rockets, you can't go back to anything. Even if it's just like, oh, take him from this side of the bridge to the other with a rocket. But you don't have to use it with a rocket. Like, now for me, anything has to be a rocket.
I love it.
Yep.
Rockets make the world go round in Zelda.
They absolutely do. That is true. So I think Mike, you're due up for a story here. What do you got?
So you mentioned in the previous podcast the pirate island and using the Ultra Hand. I don't know if we went to the same pirate island now. I wonder if there's multiple, because the one that I did,
it was Evertide Island.
Eventide. Okay, no, we did go to the same one. I didn't use Ultra Hand at all for any of that.
There was one camp where I think you can only get to it by flying something into it. And it might have been because I'll talk about this a little bit. My niece was also kind of with me, so maybe I didn't make a full circle around that pirate camp. But I was like, oh, I have to fly into it. It is designed to be dropped into.
If you go to the northwest and do that dungeon, you will understand. I didn't use Ultra Hand to get into any of those.
Did you use Ascend?
I did use Ascend on, because there's one part of that island that's taller. Like, one of the pirate islands got like a hill, and then it's like kind of down the hill. I used Ascend and got to the top of that hill and flew over into the third one. Didn't use any Ultra Hand on any three of those.
You didn't, like, your own paraglider is what you used.
I used a paraglider and go to the northwest.
All right.
To the northwest.
Just leave it at that, Matt. Just leave it at that, Matt. We'll discover. We'll discover eventually.
So speaking of that pirate island, the cool thing from that was, so like I went to Eventide because I knew it was there, and I was actually looking for Laurelin Village because I remembered it from the first one. It was the fishing town. Everybody's talking about it in all of the towns I've been in, and I'm like, I gotta go see what these pirates did to this town, man. I gotta go fix it, right? That sounds like a cool quest to go start. And I can't find it. And I didn't realize it's not in the southwest, but that pirate island. So I come across a pirate island. I do all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, so where in the heck is Laurelin? I don't remember from Breath of the Wild. So I decide to use Ultra Hand to make my way back to the main island, right? I actually made it out to Eventide. I didn't use Ultra Hand. But on the way back, I was like, I'm just going to use it. I created a boat with a control stick so I could go along the coast and find Laurelin. That was my point. So I'm going, and I keep seeing this floating debris with Bright Bloom on it. And I don't know if you've noticed, but this is another cool thing. The oceans have currents as well in different areas. And so I kept seeing these currents, and I kept seeing debris. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's Laurelin. Because they said it got messed up by the pirates. Maybe that's where Laurelin is, right? So I'm going, and I'm following all these stupid little currents and these stupid little debris pieces floating around. I'm going past Lizalfos and all these things. I'm like, I don't want to fight you. Screw you. And I go through this whole thing. I finally get to this point, and there's a cave. And I'm like, I don't remember Laurelin being in a cave. Did they, like, did they mess up this village? I go into the cave, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the creatures that you can find in there, the cave gets checkmarked once you find one. It stays uncheckmarked if you don't find it, meaning there's more to explore in that cave. Okay? So I don't think that's really a spoiler. That's more just a thing. Anyway, there's a tip for you. So I go in, I explore where I think it is, and it's not checked. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't find one of those things. And so I'm looking around, doing stuff, and I find this little thing with rocks. So I take a bomb, throw it in, go in there. I find a person in this cave. Just a person. And I walk up, and they're like, oh, you found the bottle, the message in a bottle. And I'm like, what? And, because Link doesn't talk, and he's like, wait, you didn't find my message? Well, it's just my luck that Laurelin gets attacked, and then this happens, and then my message doesn't even make it out to somebody. It was completely different dialogue than if I would have found the message in a bottle and then followed that quest line. So literally, I started and ended a quest that I didn't know existed by just exploring. Literally, the thing pops up and it says message in a bottle or something. And then it's right after it says message in a bottle complete. And I'm like, that was kind of cool. And I got different dialogue because the guy was all cranky because he's like, just my luck. You didn't even find my bottle that I made and spent all that time.
Here's what's funny about that. That quest that you just got as a freebie, that was the quest I was on when I somehow ended up on Eventide Island. So I found that bottle. So
you were in the area at least.
I was in the area. So I found the bottle first. And then it said like, follow the bright blooms in the ocean or whatever to get to him. So I start following the bright blooms to get to this guy, and I love that basically you stumbled upon him, got the quest as I was on the quest. But as I was going through the quest, I actually thought the debris was coming from that island. So I just made my way to the island. I'm like, this isn't where I'm supposed to be.
There's a
And then
whole other thing going on out there.
And then I start the quest there. And this was a story I was going to tell. Like I was playing this with my niece. We're at my in-laws' house, and I was just upstairs playing the Zelda, and she was sitting next to me, and she was geeking out about it, which was a cool moment for me that I was going to talk about. Is like, it's kind of fun having an audience for this one, especially like a younger like family member just enjoying it. Like, oh, how about this? How about this? It kind of feels like you're accomplishing it together. And she was there when I had that Dukes of Hazzard Korok into the fire thing, so she was there losing it as I was just like, ah, like whatever's going on there. But I ended up on that same island as you on that bottle quest. Then that whole pirate area took like a whole hour, and it ended up being like 4 sections. There's a shrine there that I would have missed if she wasn't there. I would have missed the shrine that's on that level if she didn't see it. And then to
Wait,
get
I have another question for you. Have
yeah,
you followed Robbie's quest at all? Robbie's the short little guy with the crazy hair and the goggles.
I started and I didn't finish it. Apparently, I thought I did, which is why I made my way to that area. So I'm like, I missed something entirely.
Do
That's
that
why
after Northwest.
I yeah, I know. So I'm here and I'm like, oh, she finds a shrine for me, and I'm like, I can't get to the shrine. Like I can't fly into it. It looks like you're supposed to glide to it, and maybe there's another way to do it, but I'm just like, I'm gonna do what I always do and build a big giant old stick. So I just built this big old thing and climbed my way into it. But I just love that I came across this island while on one quest. And then that came around, and then I came back and finished that quest. You were doing something entirely, finished a quest you weren't even on that I happened to be on. You got completely different dialogue than I did because you didn't actually start the quest, but I started the quest, and we both somehow ended up at this island in the middle, just kind of interjected here and then went amazing. I just think that's so cool.
And the fact that there was multiple dialogues, like that blew my mind. I thought it was just going to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to hit the chair. He outright says, well, that's just my luck that this happened and this happened, and then the message I spent so much time on didn't even get found. Well, you found me. At least that's good news. I'm like, bro, you cranky. You need to go eat, man. Get out of this cave.
That is so rad that we
We did the same quest.
there.
I didn't even know it was a quest. I didn't even find a bottle. I just found the dude.
I did. That's great. Scott, I think it's your turn.
Yeah, it's your
Scott
turn.
and I just connected on that one, just like you and I connected on a certain Korok. What else you got?
So I really love stories like this because it demonstrates, like, I'm going to be honest, I haven't explored that region at all. And I just kind of love, we did the same thing in Breath of the Wild. We talked about our journeys of like, oh, I went off to the northeast. Well, I went over to the southeast, and just kind of comparing each other's stories. So to kind of explain how I am going about it, I started in the middle, and I kind of worked my way from the middle to the surrounding sections from the middle. Now I'm starting to work my way to the northeast, or no, the northwest, getting to that quest that Mike keeps referring to. One that I complete accidental mission that I started on, and I got super like into it, is, I'm not sure if any of you guys have found, I think they're called the Yagi clan.
No, the Yiga clan. They were in Breath
Yiga.
of the Wild.
Yeah.
Yiga.
Well,
You
yeah.
in the depths?
Well, I haven't done anything in the depths. I've gotten like clues that there's stuff going on in the depths with them, but there's a whole entire like mission chain you can go on. I don't even think officially it gives you a mission. Basically, you can stumble onto like strongholds they have on the map. And then the stronghold, through there, you can, one thing that Mike mentioned earlier is like you can just go for random areas and find pictures of recipes and stuff. There's other things like that. You can find random pictures laying around that gives you maps to like hidden stuff. And it doesn't advertise it. It doesn't put it in your face of like, hey, look at this map, and we're going to mark everything on your map after you look at it. You just have to see it, take a picture of it, refer to it. And so there's a secret map you can find hidden in one of these Yiga clan strongholds, showing where all the strongholds are on the map.
What? No.
So once I got that, I was like, some of the areas are like, there's one off in I forget officially what the area is called, but it's the Gerudo Desert area. So it's like, I'm not going in that area anytime soon. But there was at least 3 in areas that I had access to. So I cleared out 2 of them. They were pretty easy. The third one was on the Great Plateau or Plateau. I think it's called the Great Plateau area.
Yeah.
I spent a little time on there earlier, and the enemies are pretty hardcore on there. So I was like, all right, this is apparently like they're going for a reverse thing where before this was a star area, and then now this is supposed to be kind of like one more in-game areas. But I was determined. I was like, I'm sick of coming across these assholes on the road and they're attacking me. I'm going to be the one attacking them now, going on the offense. So I explored the entire plateau. It is kind of beefcake now compared to what it was before. And I finally found their lair. The lair was not super massive, but it was elaborate. There was puzzles in there. You had to fight some beefcake guys that could one-hit shot you. I went through all this trouble in there. And the main reason why is, sorry, I'm going to give you slight spoilers. They do tell you every single lair, like each stronghold lair has a specialty. Like one specialty will be about teaching like the secret clan killing technique, and one is about finding artifacts that have been dug up from the depths. So I went to the one that was artifacts dug up from the depths because like, ooh, I could probably find something really cool here. So fight these beefcake guys that can one hit kill you. Go explore the entire area. Read all the clues to try to find the secret chamber that goes and has all the hidden good stuff in there. And I finally find it, and there's a robot in there, and he's scared. He's saying like, oh, I've been kidnapped, help. And I have to fight a final little boss fight in there. And finally, he's like, okay, I can tell you're a good guy. So I'm going to give you the super awesome mega thing that I was working on down in the depths. Oh, I'm sorry. You haven't visited the Central Depths mine. I can't give you this item. Too bad. Sorry. Thanks for rescuing me, though. And I just kind of stopped there for a second. It's just like, this entire time, all these strongholds I raided, all these guys I killed, all the trouble I went through to find you, you stupid mother effing robot, for nothing. And that was kind of like the most anticlimactic mission ending ever. With that said, it is very fun looking at this map and trying to go track down all their strongholds across the map from it. But man, that was definitely... I'm sure if I had whatever is in the secret central mine in the depths, I would have got something awesome from this robot. But
so two things. I've done what you did. I'm doing it reverse. So like you did strongholds and I did the other thing. And I'm going... So like we're going opposite ends of this thing. So that's crazy that we're doing quests backwards. I don't know how that works. I didn't know about the strongholds, the map. What? I've only found a couple, and I'm like, dang, these things are hard to find. What? Also, the thing that I shared with you guys that I found in the depths, I'm not going to say it because it is a spoiler. That thing that makes things so much better with... Do you guys remember the special?
Yeah.
Okay. That's at that place that robot mentioned.
Cool.
That's probably why. So it's you're getting something that works with that thing, and I know exactly what it is. So now I'm like, dang it, now I gotta go do that thing.
And I don't want to go and poke fun at the game too much for not being realistic, but I do love the fact that all these ninjas are being super secretive, and they even mention on all their dialogues, like, we must keep the strongholds hidden. We cannot let any intruders find them, even if to find them on your own, they're pretty well hidden. But, you know, you just go on one, and this one guy's like, hey, derp, I can't remember where all the strongholds are. Maybe if I put a big map on the wall with X's on it to mark them, maybe that'll be a good idea. It's like, no, we're supposed to keep it secret. Oh, yeah, sorry, boss. And I don't know. It's just, I find
they are a bunch of goobers, especially, have you, in that quest line, did you ever come across the boss?
I did.
Are you talking about Breath of the Wild?
Well,
no, in Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, I haven't come across their boss yet in Tears of the Kingdom, no.
Okay, well, I mean, you know who it is, right? From Breath of the Wild. He's a goober. They're all goobers that like bananas.
It was a fun fight. It was a fun fight.
So so that's cool. I'm blown away that we literally are doing these quests like backwards. How does that happen?
Yeah. All right. Great. I'm going to start my next topic, and this is going to be a really mini topic. And I don't know if you guys really have that much to add to it, but I feel like there's lots of people talking about this and how terrified it makes them. Tell me about your first time you encountered a gloom hand.
Gloom hands. Yes. Okay. That was one of my stories. What? I hate those things.
They're so strong.
They're so fast.
It's not even a strong thing. It's just the way it makes the screen change, how it becomes like very Blood Moonish, you know, how it gets the red, purple hues to it in the music and everything, and just how fast they charge at you. Like, I'm going to be honest. I mean, the first time I encountered one, it totally kicked my ass, and I had to cheese it. There was no way I was going to beat this thing. Now I could probably beat one, but I don't care. I still run away because they charge at you so fast and make everything so spoopy.
I feel you
This,
have to cheese it to
You
fight those things.
I well, one time, and I'm not sure if you guys ever done this, but basically my go-to is I'm exploring, everything turns dark. I'm like, why is everything turning dark? And I turn around and I just see them charging at me. And my first instinct is not even to teleport the way away, it's just to find the closest tree or tower or anything to climb on and just climb up it before it can get to me. So one time I'm just up there, I'm like, oh, stupid gloom hand, I'm just gonna keep shooting you with arrows. The hands respawn. If you don't, I think you have to kill all the hands within like a 30-second window, or else they keep on respawning. What I did find out is if you just chill out on top of something, they will eventually go and despawn and leave behind some items. So that's how I've been cheesing it lately. And I don't know if you actually kill them, if they drop more than what they drop if they just despawn. But yeah, like it's just random ass times. I'm just mind my own business, yada yada yada. Let me go walk here, and then suddenly Gloomham rush, and I just book it.
My first encounter was it was in a cave, and I was like, oh, what are those things? Okay, whatever. And there was a shrine across the way in this cave, and I was like, I'll just go down there, kill them, hop up there. And dude, no joke, I'm sitting there, they're all like huddled around. It was like creepy too. It was like I Am Legend, like when all those like monsters, the vampire things or whatever, were like huddled in a nest. They're like huddling, and so I'm like, okay, I'll get down there and I'll shoot a bomb. And apparently I got too close, and they heard me, and they got the eyes on the hands, they all just go, whoo, and look at me, and I went, I don't like this. And then they just go at me, and I'm like, ha, and I'm like shooting a bomb, and it goes over their head, and I'm like, ah, and I'm like running, and I just died. I was like, I don't like that. I'm not going back in that cave. I didn't get that shrine. I took off. I didn't do it again.
What's funny is that's where I encountered them the first time too. And I was on top of this little pillar with a couple mushrooms on top of it. And I'm just like, oh my God, what do I do? I'm stuck in this cave with these hands. And then I just look across the way and see a shrine. And it's like, screw you guys. I'm just going to rocket shield it away and glide over to the shrine and go inside. Never did fight them. I just teased it.
Those things are scary.
Going to be a weapon or some form of like item or food, whatever that helps you, like gloom resistant and stuff.
Gloom is no joke.
No, gloom is the scariest like addition to me. So yeah, the first time I came across those, I was up in the snowy area just trying to get to a tower so that I can get to the southeast area. And I'm just walking along the path, and suddenly they just pop out of nowhere. I'm like, oh no! And I like, they grabbed me immediately, took me down to like 1 health. I couldn't recover anything else, and I just hoofed it. I gotta get out of here. They are scary. So the first time I saw it, yes, I panicked. Sounds like everyone else panicked too. Yeah, they're scary, dude.
Because they're so fast, and like, because like, remember in the older Zelda games, they had the hands that came from the ceiling, right? Yeah. So I saw them, and I thought they would go like, oh, they're gonna go up and come over to me. I can get this. This will be easy. No, not. They were so fast, and then that gloom killed me so fast. I was like, well, not doing that again.
All right. Since we're on the topic of enemies, have you guys encountered, I'm trying to remember, the dragon. I'm trying to remember what its name is. The
Gleeok. Yes, once. I ain't going back anytime soon.
All right, so Mike sounds like he has a Gleeok story. Does Matt have any encounters?
I've seen one. Like, I somehow went somewhere like I probably shouldn't have, and I was just kind of gliding, and I'm like, is that a freaking dragon on the middle of this bridge?
Well, we're not talking about the dragons that float in the sky with the nice soothing...
No, you're talking about
we're talking about the three-headed dragon that's a remake. It's an upgrade from the first Zelda. Like, they're called Gleeoks.
I was just flying by, and I saw that. I'm like, I have 4 hearts. No, I don't think I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, there has been a few areas that I've been trying to glide to, and as I'm gliding, I just look below and I see it circling below me, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go ahead and turn around and fly off in a different direction. It's kind of like the Grandpa Simpson gif of like walking into the
puts his hat up.
Yeah, puts his hat up, and then I see the dragon, turn around, put the hat back on, leave. The first time I found one, and it was actually very, very climatic. And this is going to be spoilers, but I don't give a crap because we've already said plenty of spoilers in this podcast. The first one I encountered was actually in the Colosseum. And I always remember in Breath of the Wild how let down I was by the Colosseum, because you see this big-ass Colosseum off in the distance, and you tell yourself, like, all right, there's going to be a badass fight in here. If I know anything about video games, and if Roman culture has taught me anything, is that badass fights always happen in Colosseums. I go in there, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a Lionel in there, and it wasn't even like a
In
max
Breath of the
level
Wild,
Lionel.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't even max level. And at that point, like, I was already a Lionel killing machine. Like, what I do is, like, I actually actively rooted for Blood Moon so they would all respawn and I could butcher them all and take their weapons. Sounds kind of like being in New York City. But anyhow, in Tears of the Kingdom, what you find in that Coliseum is instead what is it again? Gleeok?
Gleeok, yeah. I
A,
don't know
a
if that's how you
lightning
pronounce
one.
it, but yeah.
Yeah, a
Ooh.
lightning one. So apparently there's, like, I think 3
I came across
elements
an
to
ice
it.
one.
Yeah, maybe there's more than the 3, but there's at very least I've found the fire, ice, and lightning one. So I always remember I came up to it. I didn't do anything fancy. I didn't come up from above. I just went through the main bridge up to the main gate. And one thing that does slightly annoy me about Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild did the same thing, is how enemies kind of just randomly pop in once you get close enough. And I kind of would wish if they would pop in a little bit further away so you can see it. So I'm getting pretty close to the gate of the Coliseum, and I look in there, and then suddenly this dragon just pops up in there. And I don't have its attention yet because I'm still kind of a good distance away, and it's pretty massive. Like, you can see it from quite a distance. And I'm just like, all right, there's this badass looking dragon chilling out in this Coliseum. And little Scott, I have 6 hearts and, like, a little stick with little monster horn on it. Do I want to go for this? Yes, I do. So this was, like, probably one of the most there's plenty of moments in that game, and I think we'll talk about, I think Matt's probably going to mention it, the golems with the crystals on it a little bit later. But there's lots of creatures you come across in the game where you just have to take a moment and say to yourself, like, am I man enough to fight this thing? Do I have the guts to go and pick a fight with this creature? Yes, I do. Maybe sometimes you'll be like, no, I'm not. I'm going to cheese it the other direction. This one, I was just like, what's the worst going to happen? It'll kill me, whatever. I actually intentionally climbed up on the top of the Coliseum, used, I forget what potion, maybe it was defense up or attack up, equipped the best equipment I had, built some weapons on the fly with the strongest attack value. I've, like, spent a good 5 minutes prepping to go and surprise attack this dragon. I'm finally ready for it. I go for it, glide down, shoot a couple arrows at it, and he's just kind of like, oh, what's up, bro? Lightning from mouth, 1 shot, you're dead. Cool. And that was, like, the most disappointing anticlimactic fight. It's just like, oh, it's so cool. He's like, here, ready. I'm going to go and prepare myself, do a sneak attack. Oh, just 1 shot, I'm dead. And ever since then, I have not messed with one of those guys. They were no joke.
Yeah. I did a similar thing with the ice. I was following a quest, and it's like, I could take out this thing. Nope. Haven't gone back to that quest.
I have yet to fight something purposely of that level. Like, I've seen, like, 1 or 2. I was like, I'll fight you. Like, I fought a few Hinoxes pretty early on. At one point, I was in an area that's probably designed for later in the game, and I came across, like, not a Hinox, but like whatever the big sort of pig-looking thing is.
Yeah,
I don't
the
know
group,
name.
the new, that's a new one, like a commander.
Yeah, the new one.
Mm-hmm.
And he just one-shot me in 1 smack. I was like, oh, it's one of these. So eventually I just fought it cheese style. The dragon, I'm not even touching. I'm not even coming close.
You have to be beefed up to fight those things, unless you're really good.
And that was the vibe I got. I did fight that underground, like, I forget the name of it. It was like Fronks or something.
Yeah, Frogs. That's
Frogs.
The frog, the giant frog that looks very intimidating. But he's not that bad.
Beat him on my first try, which made me feel pretty cool that I was able to knock him out. Which kind of leads into my next story here is I actually got a dragon scale pretty early on. I was just chilling in I forget the name of it, like Kiriko Village.
Kakariko.
It was Kakariko, thank you. And I was just like, there's a dragon right next to me, like, oh, arrow. Got the scale. What do I do with it? I'll put it on a weapon. And it just became a really strong weapon, which had a little add-on text that says extra durable, so it just lasts forever. And then that weapon, I actually became my only weapon that I could use to, like, break things. So I started breaking things with this, like, strong weapon because it was the only thing I had to really break stuff. My wife was just like, are you using a dragon scale weapon to break boulders? I was like, uh-huh. Yep. Why not? So right. I've been using that.
I'm kind of jealous you got a dragon scale. I don't have one.
One thing about this game is
place, right time.
I guess so.
No, like, I have already started farming dragon scales because I'm going with the Fierce Deity Link armor set. And just from the get-go, yeah, even to get to level 2, you have to start using dragon scales to upgrade it. And if it's anything like Breath of the Wild, it's going to be dragon scale, and then dragon claw, and then dragon horn. But I will say this game is a lot easier to farm the dragons on. For the fact that I think all 3 of them, as part of their path, they go and take a dive into the depths, and so at that point, as they're doing it, it makes them very accessible and easy to hit.
That's how I got him.
Yeah, I know exactly. I think it was the ice one, the blue one,
Correct.
and yeah, and I think you got him as it was starting to go and submerge into the hole, and that's the exact same spot I got mine too. But
It was great. It was
I
One-
great.
didn't even know they did that. I saw him
I
down
do-
there, but I didn't know they did that.
I have a similar story to Matt, just super quick in there. So one weapon that was a joke weapon in the first game, and it's actually pretty good in this one, is what are the names of like the goblin, Hobgoblin,
Bokoblin.
Hobgoblin?
Yeah.
And so when you fight the skeleton versions of them, and they leave their arms as weapons,
Dude,
so
they're
those
powerful.
they're
They're
actually pretty
strong.
beefcake. They're beefcake in this game. And one time I just decided for shits and giggles, I'm like, oh, I wonder what type of weapon I could make from this. So I think I added amber to it. And all right, it calls it itself the Amber Reaper. And I'm like, all right, that's a badass weapon name. So now that's like one of my things, like as like a, oh shit, even though this is only going to survive like 5 strikes, it's super powerful. So it's kind of my Cheez-It weapon. One time I decided, like, you know what? I only have 2 diamonds from my entire 20 hours exploring. What happens if I use a diamond on one of the arms? And I got this badass diamond Reaper, and it was probably the strongest weapon I've gotten in the game up until like that point. And that thing, it only lasted for 5 hits, and I felt kind of sad that I wasted a diamond on something that only lasts for 5 hits. But it was a glorious 5 smacks. So I very much understand Matt's thing about wasting very valuable resources on just throwaway
Yep.
weapons. No regrets. No regrets.
No regrets.
You
It
know,
was for science.
I think we could just keep going on and on. I mean, there's so much. There's so much in this game. We've discussed it. It's so dense. Like, yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe it. I can't believe they made this game.
There's so much in this game. I got 2 quick little short stories, but Mike, do you got another one?
No, I was gonna say, like, I got tons more, but like it's already. I mean, we're already at our limit here. And I'm like, we still got
Yeah.
Scotty Porta Potty's rant. So I'm like, we could keep going, but throw him in there. Throw him in there
Alright, then
before
I
Scott
got-
rants us out.
Then I got one. I was coming across a base, just a regular base, and when I got close, they blew the horn, and the base turned into a monster. Just popped out of the ground. I was like,
Oh, the stone,
Wow.
the rocks, the talus.
"Yep." And
Yeah,
it took
that
me
startled me
so
too. I was like,
long-
ah.
It took me so long to beat him. Do you want to know why it took me so long? Because I forgot Ascend is an ability.
You know what's funny? I have never used Ascend on them. All I do is I toss out a Fireberry or whatever it's called. I create an updraft, and I just go and updraft it and just kind of spam him with slow motion arrows. And
That works, but you know what works better?
Ascend.
but if you go and use the updraft, then you can slow motion snipe all of the goblins hanging out on him, and then
Use a
swoop in
bomb.
and finish up.
Yeah, use the
It is
bomb.
pretty
It clears
cool.
him out.
It was one of those fights. Still, the very first time, I just did not expect it, and it's like, oh yeah, cool. There's a crystal right next to him in a like, little camp. Let me take. Oh no!
Yeah,
They're all
that
riding
was-
on him. Oh man.
That was just a cool moment. I'm like, all right, a base. Oh, it moves. It was rad. This is my last story. And this goes back to something that we really like is the variety in solving things. There was one shrine where I did 2 of the most Matt Cheez-It things possible. They give you like a wheel and a piece of wood to connect to a platform to then make it kind of climb upstairs. And I couldn't get it to work because I'm dumb, and that's why I don't really like the building bit. I'm like, hang on, can I do this the lazy way? And that's where I learned that you can use the altar hand to move stuff and hold it there for like 2 minutes. Just hold it there for 2 minutes and then let go. And then use recall on it. And it goes to where you left it and gives you time just to kind of climb up whatever and grab it. That's my go-to problem solver now is I'm going to lift it where I want, then it drops, then I recall, and then I go to where I want. And I just love that I can cheese it with alter hand and then recall. I've done that so many times and it just works.
All right. So I just want to say my very final one. And honestly, when we came up with the topic of like best stories, this is instantly the one. It's like I gotta share this story. So I'm gonna give you the quick like condensed version. So there's a tower, and I imagine you guys have already gone to the tower. It's like one of the very first ones you can get to, and it's surrounded by an enemy base, and it's pretty well guarded. The only way you can get into said base is you have to go up a separate little tree that has the platforms and the guards on it. And once you climb up the tree, then there's a bridge that leads across from the tree into the fortress that's around the tower. So the very first time I murder all the goblins on it, I'm starting to cross this bridge, and I see there's explosive barrels on this bridge, and I just wonder to myself, I'm like, that's interesting that all these explosive barrels are hanging out here. Cool. Keep walking along said bridge. Door opens, and there's a big ass spiky ball that they push down this bridge towards me. And first, I was like, yeah, this isn't something they ever did in Breath of the Wild. And could I have jumped off that bridge and saved my life? Definitely. Did I have to do the cliche action hero turn around and I'm running off track, running the other way on the bridge with explosive barrels going off? Definitely. I did not outrun that spiky ball. It got to me. It blew up shit. It annihilated me. And it made me angry. And so I was like, you know what? They're not going to get away with pulling a trap on Scott. I'm going to go back there and I'm going to get them this time. Did I have any plan of how I was going to get them? Not at all. It was one of those things. It's like, I'll wing it. When I get back there, I'll figure out something to do with the spiky ball. Repeat the entire situation. Going down the bridge, open the door, push up the spiky ball. Spiky ball is going towards me. And in a pure moment of panic, I'm like, okay, it's coming. I know it's coming. What do I do? And I just randomly push L. I didn't know what ability I had assigned to it. I just pushed it. And it was Ultra Hand. So I'm like, all right, it's Ultra Hand. Cool. I grabbed the spike ball and I lift it up. And I'm like, I stopped the spike ball. Awesome. And then the army of goblins start charging at me from across the bridge who pushed the spiky ball. And so here I am, again, like, Scott, just get the spiky ball, toss it to the side, kill the goblins. No, I was in a panic. I was in the middle of floating this ball up in 20 feet up in the air as these goblins are charging at me, about ready to kill me. And I'm just like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? And I wish I could say that I did this intentionally and it was pure accident. I just let go of the ball. I'm just going to let go of it. Drop the ball directly on top of them as they were right under it, while they just so happen to be right next to explosive barrels. I absolutely destroyed 6 of them all at the same time. Just out of pure panic, dropping a big fat ass ball on their head, exploding a bunch of barrels, cleared the entire section. And that is, in a nutshell, what I love about the game, that you can go and do stuff like that. And panic moments can turn into incredible victories by pure accident.
And then you use that in the future.
And you use that in the future.
Two
Imagine
pro
if
tips.
you used recall on that.
I was literally going to say pro tips. Use recall when they push it down, and also attach when it comes down, fuse that spiky ball to your weapon.
I did fuse it to my weapon afterwards, and that was a very beefcake weapon that I think eventually I just used to break stones with, even though it was like 30 attack. But yes, it is
Super
a very good
beefy.
weapon. Anyway,
Yeah.
is it that time?
It's that time, man. So this game, to end it, put a pin in this. This game is just so full of stuff. Like, I don't see this game disappearing off social media for a very long time, for the memes, for the finding cool stuff. I think people are going to be finding things in this game like years from now. They found
They're
stuff in
still
Breath of
finding-
the Wild. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
they're still finding stuff in Breath of the Wild, and that game, if they're still finding stuff on a game designed for the Wii U, imagine how much longer it's going to be until they find everything.
they got
for Tears of the
more.
Kingdom.
They got more levels now too. It's nuts. So with that, we have a Scotty Porta Potty rant primed and ready for you. So let's go. Look over there. He just doesn't care. He's going off on a crowd of people, throwing words in the air like he just don't care. He's yelling at all of us sheeple. It's a Scotty Porta Potty rant. It's a Scotty Porta Potty rant. It's a Scotty Porta Potty rant. It's rant time.
You know what really grinds my gears? European bathrooms. Yeah, that's right. I know I'm probably going to offend the whole 0 Europeans we have watching this podcast, but your bathrooms are a joke. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of the typical Americans that think the American way of life is so much better than every aspect of Europe. You got together on healthcare. You got together on your public transportation. But guys, get together on the bathrooms. It is literally the size of a phone booth. I had the pleasure of visiting Europe for a couple of weeks. I could not go into a restroom and use the toilet while having a door open. I would have to it would be a little bit puzzle. It'd be like Tears of the Kingdom. Like, all right, first you close this door, then you're supposed to lift open this latch, and then you sit down. That is not a country designed for extra large people. All of our extra large visitors out there, avoid Europe. They discriminate against you. It is not an extra large friendly person.
They fat shame you when you go to the bathroom.
They do. Like, how messed up is that? Fat shaming you in the restroom. Like, I was barely able to squeeze in. But the bigger problem, aside from the size, is the toilets. I'm looking at you, the bidet. Is that how it's pronounced? Yeah, that's right. Whoever bidet. Whoever was the sicko who thought like, you know what would be a good idea? Instead of wiping, let's have a Nerf gun shoot our ass. You're just a sick individual, and I hope I never meet you. Just like whoever thought that was a good idea of like, hey, let me get my ass squirted to go and clean up.
Did you know the toilet you sat down was a bidet, or did you find out the trial by water?
I didn't go. I used it the old American way by wiping. I did not push the button. These ass cheeks have never been squirted. I assure you of that.
Oh, so there was it wasn't like you are getting your butt washed. Like it was like you could push the button and get your butt washed, but otherwise you could just push it and flush.
There's like a setting. So yes, you actually hit a knob and there's different intensities of butt squirting it has. And like, it's a whole tire. And there's different temperatures you can go and get. Like you guys have to go and apply your ingenuity to other subjects than like different ways to have your butt squirted. It's just a waste of ingenuity on your parts, guys. You can do a lot better than that. It's just weird. It's horrible. And I don't like it. I veto it. Especially in California, we have a water drought. Thank you very much. We have better things to use water on than squirting our butts, like water parks and car washes. Thank you very much. God bless the United States of America.
Pro tip for you big boys. I just love that Scott hates a bidet, didn't use it. Is just angry that it exists, even though it's been proven to work better than toilet paper. But you know what, Scott? I love you.
I want to see that research. Fake news.
I don't want that option. Take away my options. Okay, that'll do it. Good rant. Good job, team. All right. Again, we went longer than expected, but I think, again, this is because Tears of the Kingdom is just larger than life. So, Tears of the Kingdom, great game. Some beefs, lots of good. Go play it. Just play it. Just play it. And with that being said, you guys have any last words you want to say? Throw your shout-outs for yourselves. Self-promote.
Celiac_Matt on Twitch. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday.
Do it. Scott?
I like turtles.
Scott likes turtles and will eventually stream.
Not bidets.
But not bidets.
And not bidets.
And you can follow me, Bowertendo, on Twitch. You're obviously, hey, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, you should subscribe. We already got one goal, man. Scott's playing Fortnite with us real soon.
June 9th.
By the time this airs, it either happened or it's going to happen just days away. Ooh, it's close. It's close. All right, well, appreciate you as always, listeners, viewers. Throw us some comments on fun stories that you've had with Tears of the Kingdom, some beefs you have with Tears of the Kingdom, some things you love about Tears of the Kingdom, or that you just haven't even played Tears of the Kingdom, so we can all just dogpile on you and say you should play Tears of the Kingdom. That being said, appreciate you as always, and we'll catch you later. Bye!